Football has its ups and downs. You can't win every match, but you can win every bet. Start your free trial and earn £30 risk-free today at oddswatchdog.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to the new season of the Gooner Ramble podcast. I'm your host as ever, Giles, and joining me tonight are the three amigos. We have Dave. How you doing, mate? Dave Seeger at Gooner Dave 66. How you doing, mate?
All good, my friend. All good.
Good man. Good man. We've also got Akhil at 10. Akhil. Good evening, mate.
Well, glad to be back.
Good man. And also Warren at Was the Gooner.
Hello, mate. How you doing? Long summer, but we're back.
We are back with a bang. Right, so it was all there. Friday night football. It was Friday night lights, Friday night fucking frights, and turned out to be Friday night delights. But quick summary. What did you...
That was very good.
You've been rehearsing.
Someone's been busy this summer.
New me, you know, new me. So, right, me and Ax went in together. I want to get Dave and Waz's view first, and then Ax you after. But how did you make of Friday night football? I'll start with you, Dave. What did you think of it? I mean, when you first heard that we were up first on a Friday, not the non-traditional kick-off to the season.
I thought I've got to leave Cornwall slightly earlier than I would have done otherwise, and my missus was going to kill me. Is my first reaction, to be honest. Which ended up happening, and I left Cornwall at 10:10, and I missed the first 5 minutes of the game, including Lacazette's first goal. I had 7.5 hours in the car on Friday.
Blimey.
I nearly didn't make it at all. I had my own season ticket in my pocket, but I had to go home to get 2 silvers for 2 other people that was meeting outside the ground. I was doing them a favour. So if I was coming straight to the game, I would have been fine. But because in the end, my daughter drove from Southampton up to Basingstoke, met me halfway with my 2 silvers, and then I went from there. But yeah, I got in with about just as I came through the top of 31, the goal went in.
What would you do without your daughter?
That was some detailed story there about how you got to the game. Wow.
He hasn't even answered the fact.
It's a very stressful day.
Oh, save that one for a 0-0 when we've got nothing else to talk about.
What about you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to follow this up. I've had.
You were drunk from like midday, weren't you? That's what I heard from Cookie.
Mate. No, well, to be fair, I'm working in South London at the moment. So what I've done is I took some change of clothes and had a little wash at work, and I trotted across at 3 o'clock into the pub, and I thoroughly enjoyed relaxing whilst Dave was running around like nutcase by the sounds of it. But yeah, it was. To be honest with you, mate, Friday night football at home is a fantastic idea. It gives you the full weekend to just sit back and relax, especially when you've won and you get to enjoy. But if I was travelling up to Burnley on a Friday night or Saturday, I think it's ridiculous. So yeah, as a home fan, I loved it, but as an away fan, not for me.
Ax, we went in together. I mean, what does it feel like for you? I mean, for me, it was kind of weird going up on a Friday. Do you know what I mean? But it was nice. It was nice, though.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just felt like a normal Tuesday or Wednesday, or well, maybe even Thursday this year. But just felt like a normal weeknight. But then you sort of had that bit after the game where you thought, oh, well, it's a Friday, So you kind of weren't in that immediate rush to get back as you would be on a weeknight. So no, I like it. I think if you're playing at home, it's great. Or if it's like a London derby, it's fine.
Or a local game,
a Watford away or something like that, absolutely fine. I did feel sorry for the Leicester fans actually having to travel into London on Friday night.
They would have just got to King's Cross, just 2 stops from.
But trains a bit more expensive on a Friday. If you're driving, it's a little bit more expensive. So I mean, I certainly wouldn't have liked to go to Leicester on a Friday night.
That's true.
But at home, brilliant. I had a weekend with to myself, with my friends and family. So yeah, it worked out well.
I'll tell you what, Dave, you got in. I don't know if you got in late because of your trials and tribulations getting to the ground, but we got in. We got there about a quarter of an hour before the game kicked off, didn't we, Akhil? We didn't get in until about 10 minutes after. It was madness. The queuing was. We don't go down the clock end usually anyway. So I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but we had that. It was a madness getting in there on Friday.
Wow.
It's already exciting.
Well, by the time I got to the stadium, it was everyone was already in, so no, I didn't have that problem.
It was half time by the time you got there, wasn't it?
Right. So, what did you make of the game itself? Really quickly, start with you. I mean, You know, we were very, 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 very hopeful, aware that, you know, things could go belly up as they did last season, first game of the season. But I mean, what's your synopsis?
You wait a whole summer for it, and it hits you really hard. And I must admit, when you reflect back on it now, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But when you're there with sort of two left backs at centre back, and you're 3-2 down in the second half after coming level at half time, you're sort of thinking, bloody, not again. But my word, what a last 10 minutes. And it was unbelievable. I thought it was such a fast tempo game. It was enjoyable. It was the Premier League. To be fair, it's everything I'd missed, and I waited a whole summer to see it, and it was there, and thankfully it went in our favour. And yeah, I was just so happy to have football back, and to win a game 4-3 in the last sort of 7 minutes as well was just a fantastic way to do it, mate. So yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I miss my football. But do you know what? All summer I've been thinking to myself, and towards the end of last season, I was almost thinking about being in football, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. And I sat away for the summer, and I sat there, and there's only so much women's football you can watch, and then the pre-season friendlies, and it's all fun and games, but it sort of hit me, and I thought, do you know what? When we kick off, even the Community Shield, I love going to Wembley and all that, but it's just not the same. And when that first ball's kicked and the tackles are flying in, and your £52 million centre forward scores after 90 seconds, wow, that's it. Football's back, mate. So yeah, I loved it.
Dave, as was said, you know, we started off like a house on fire, but whether it was makeshift defence or just, you know, people not talking to each other, or just, you know, same problems that we saw last season, you know, overlapping and spilling into this season. I mean, have we lost the art of defending? Have we forgotten the art of defending? Has the Premier League forgotten the art of defending?
I don't think it was. I just think it was just rustiness and players playing slightly out of position and not having as strong a team out. I mean, I had my head in my hands on many occasions, but I kept having to say to myself that this is not the team that's going to be playing week in, week out. And I was more excited by how good we looked going forward on occasion. You know, 1 minute I felt like that. The next minute I was thinking, my God, we're just passing the ball sideways again for 10 minutes in a row. And it had everything. It was a complete roller coaster. I had times where I thought this is sensational. I thought Lacazette was amazing, low centre of gravity, quick turning, quick feet. Oh, this is fantastic. And other times I thought I saw us passing sideways 50 times between Elneny and Xhaka. And I was thinking, I had everything for me. The goals were fantastic. The defending was diabolical. And we won. And I would imagine if you're Sky or BT, whatever channel it was on a Friday night at the start of the Premier League, watched by millions of people around the world, my God, you know, what a fantastic advert for the Premier League with the right result at the end of it. But no, I would have thought it was one of those games where you look back and think, I really, really enjoyed that after the game, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it for 90 minutes.
Actually, we have, as far as I'm concerned, we have no trouble. We have no problems going forward and scoring. You know, if we need to, we can do it. It's always been in the defensive phase. When Wenger switched to the 3-4-3 or whatever system you want to call it, he did say his problem was trying to, because when we first switched to the system, we had problems, you know, in attack. We had problems in the attacking phase, and one of his issues was trying to make us efficient scoring as well as, you know, keeping the back door shut. Do you think that he's getting it right, or did you, as Dave said, did you think last night, Friday night was a one-off makeshift team? You know, can't really look too much or too deeply into it, or do you think that there are still problems, you know, keeping the goals out?
I don't think you can ever say with any kind of confidence that it was a one-off and it won't happen again. I mean, just going back a step to that sort of Friday night game, I mean, we've obviously started the season pretty bad over the last few years, you know, Liverpool, West Ham, Villa a couple of years before. We've only really won that one in about 5 or 6 years, which was a Ramsey last minute winner against Palace at home. So generally we haven't been great on the first day. And the thing with being first up on a Friday night is everyone wants football all over Europe. Everyone's watching that game. So that pressure on Arsenal to start well, I mean, we had all talked about it. As fans, we had said we must start well, we must win that first game, especially with Stoke and Liverpool to come. Arsene Wenger was talking about it in press conferences. Players were all talking about it. So there was pressure on themselves by everyone talking about it and themselves talking about it. They heaped the pressure on. So, and then on top of that, you obviously had, you know, Koscielny suspended, Mustafi out, and Mertesacker out. And so then that's three, pretty big players. You had Callum Chambers not ready yet.
Not been seen.
Not being seen, I mean, you had Rob Holding there who also came back late as well. So you just, he hasn't had a full pre-season as well. And maybe that showed a little bit, or maybe it was a bit more about concentration. I don't know. But so it's a little bit of both. You would think it will improve as players come back. But at the end of the day, I was just happy to get the win. I just thought, looking at the last 6 years, we just have to get that win. We just have to get that win. And thankfully we have. We've now had another week of training. Mustafi's back in the group. Mertesaker's back in the group. Koscielny will be back for Liverpool. So things look a little bit brighter there. Aaron Ramsey as well. We didn't risk him from the start. So it'll be interesting to see how we do in the next two games. And then I think your question will be answered by performances rather than us sort of speculating.
I think it did tell us. I think it did tell us that Nacho Monreal can't play central.
The pivot, yeah.
And it highlights a wider problem for me, because I don't know what you guys think, but I think right now the best three defenders for age, combination, fitness are probably Mustafi, Koscielny, and Nacho. But it does leave without a big, tall centre back of the three, one of them who's going to attack the ball. And so I think one of those three probably can't play, and then it's a case of whether it's Per or Holding that does play. I think one of those three has to be taller, and the best three are the shortest three.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's an interesting dilemma he's got, I think.
You can see Holding maybe stepping out just because he didn't have the best of game. But especially Mustafi and Mertesaker are fit, you would expect them to, and Monreal to be the three.
Yeah, but Mertesaker was fit from February onwards, wasn't he?
He was.
I think it's
one good game doesn't change everything.
Yeah, but I think it's a different sort of mindset on that now as well. In February, we weren't playing the back three. We only started playing the back three from Easter. So I think Mertesaker in the back
three. Still 10 games he could have played.
Yep.
There was, but at the same time, maybe we got into that sort of rhythm, and there was no need to change it because we were in a football game.
So do you agree with Dave that Holding is nearer to the first, even though he had quite a poor night? We shouldn't look too much into it, or and that he shouldn't be victimized for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He had a very good end to the season. He's had some pressure games like semi-finals, finals, Community Shields, where he's played very well. So, absolutely not. It's one bad game. He's a young player, and yeah, I mean, I was at that charity event last week where Arsene Wenger was a guest speaker, and funny enough, there was a point where he said that when you play a young player, that they'll probably cost you 5 to 6 points a season, but in the long run that experience will mean they'll hopefully cost you nothing as they get older. Whereas sometimes if you buy a player in who hasn't got the experience or got less experience, who hasn't played from an early age, who's been in squads but hasn't been in the first team, then they can still cost you 3 or 4 points even at an established age. And then in the break I kind of asked him that, when you said that, the first person I thought was Rob Holding. And he kind of just looked, he didn't obviously agree, but he kind of looked as a acceptance, like, yeah, I see what you mean kind of thing. And what I got by that is he does know that Rob Holding will cost him some points this season because he's such a young player, but he feels that that's the only way to get him to where he wants him to be, and that's obviously a first teamer for Arsenal, potentially a future Arsenal captain. So it kind of, and I thought of that on Friday, saying that, I kind of see what he says now, but hopefully a night like that will make him stronger in the long run.
I think also his confidence must have been knocked when he was taken away with. He finished the season on a massive high, was taken away with the under-21s and barely played a minute.
Yeah, maybe.
Chambers was playing ahead of him. He's come back, and he's not been involved in pre-season when in fact he probably could have been because he hadn't played much time. Had many minutes on the pitch. So he's rusty, and his confidence has probably taken a slight knock. When he was expecting to be playing in the Championship, I would have thought.
Over to you. I mean, next game, Stoke, would you put Holding back in there, or would you play Mustafi fit and Mertesaker?
Well, yeah, he said today that Mustafi and Per are back in there. So,
would you? What would you do?
What would I personally do? Yeah, it's an interesting one. See, I actually envisage Mustafi being comfortable as the deeper of the three, sort of very similar to David Luiz. I think it takes all of the issues out of his game. So personally, I'd be looking at that right centre-back spot, which I wouldn't be playing I'd be playing Holding. So, yeah, I suggest that I probably would go Monreal, Mustafi, Holding. But that's just me. But then again, you're playing up against Stoke. You know they're going to hit you with a barrage. Big Purr in there. He's a leader. He's an organiser. He's a big guy. So, difficult one.
For me, I would play Purr with Mustafi on the right and Nacho on the left.
Yeah. And rest Holding.
Yeah, and rest Holding. It's not victimising him or singling him out. It's just the horses for courses. Stoke is I know he had a good game last season when we won 4-1 over there, but, I just feel that Mustafi alongside Holding, probably not ready for that yet. Mustafi goes to sleep sometimes. I think his concentration, he does lose concentration sometimes. We saw what he did in Munich when he went to sleep. He started pointing at somebody else and let the flipping floodgates open. So I'm not sure he's that organizer, that kind of mind, the chief defensive mind to be that pivotal player in the free. So I would play Purr, Mustafi on the right if they're fit, and Nacho on the left. But we'll see. Sticking with you, was the midfield. How did you assess their game? I mean, do you think they're a good pair, or would you like to see Ramsey back in there? I don't know.
I think we know the answer to this.
But no, let's just see what he's got to say. The assessment. How did you assess?
Personally, I felt that was Mohamed El Nene's best game for it in an Arsenal shirt. I thought he had a fairly decent game. The one thing that I tend to notice about it is Granit Xhaka covers a lot more ground when Mohamed El Nene's on the pitch. He's asked to express himself a lot more because I'm not here to slay El Nene. I just don't think he's got the levels to allow Xhaka to sit in and just worry about sitting in and playing progressive football. Now, we all saw, I don't know if you saw it, Granit Xhaka travelled the most distance out of any player in the Premier League at the weekend, which is
7.5
crazy. Yeah, which is quite astounding, really, for our deep line playmaker defensive midfielder.
Well, El Nene was definitely deeper. He was taking the ball in the deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprising.
Exactly, Dave, and it works. It works for me. It worked nicely in a way that we felt a bit more comfortable on the ball, but you could see immediately the impact that the sort of change of emphasis in the middle of the park gives you. And although I could see that working, I'm just not sure El Nene is the player. If we could upgrade on El Nene with an additional deep line player who could maybe sort of rotate a bit more with Xhaka, I can understand people's sort of reservations about being defensively open, but Mohamed El Nene is a deep line player and he was sat in there and we was more open than ever before. And I personally don't like seeing Granit Xhaka cover large distances. I think that's when he gets sucked in, he gets booked. You see him in uncomfortable areas. For me, he's not that guy. I like him with the vision of the game ahead of him, sort of similar to someone like Xabi Alonso. He's not the most mobile player in the world, but what he can do is gain more and more intelligence. And with Aaron Ramsey alongside him, it almost releases the shackles of him thinking, I've got to do something in the final third, or I've got to get involved. And like I said, I want to give praise to Mohamed El Nene for his performance. I think he done well, and the cross was absolutely fantastic. But I just don't see the layers to his game. I don't think he's good enough defensively. I don't think he can put in them big tackles. I don't think he can get in the final third and really cause havoc. I know he done well for that cross, but it's a very rare occasion. And I think Xhaka had a massive hand in all 4 goals, and he was quite high.
I was surprised how easily Leicester got about us in the midfield, actually.
Yeah.
It was quite shocking how easily they got about us.
See, on the ball,
you're talking about Andy James and I like Ndidi, but Andy James or whatever his name, Matty James, he's a nothing player.
No, and on the ball,
and yet when he went off is when the game changed.
Yeah.
They missed
him. Well, that's the thing. On the ball, it's very easy on the eye. You see El Nene getting in 5 yards and moving the ball quickly. That looks quite nice, but in the reality of things, barring that, very little else was actually happening in the middle of the park. And I think that's why we kept seeing Xhaka disappearing into spaces where the pairing of them is just not. But to be fair, they haven't played together much. So personally, do I see it as a long-term solution? No. Do I think it could be used in certain games? Or we've proved it can be used in certain games, but there's definitely room for improvement. And I just think that especially at home, I think Aaron Ramsey is a nice weapon to have as that third man run and that additional sort of creative havoc.
Akhil, over to you. Lacazette had a great start to the game, kind of went missing a bit in the middle part of the game, and at the end of the game came back again, had a really storming end to the game. We saw him lead the line. He struggled a little bit. Obviously, the adaptation period, Harry Maguire gave him some lumps and kicks and bruises. And then when Giroud came on, they seemed to dovetail quite well. He moved out to the left, and they seemed to partner buddy up quite well, didn't you think?
Yeah, I thought it certainly gives us options. I mean, you're right, he certainly faded in the middle, and that was maybe when Leicester were on top as well, and we were slightly under the cosh a little bit there, especially sort of latter part of the second half. But I think that it's very promising there. You know, we've got different options, and that's kind of something what we've wanted for a while, to have different options. I still don't think he'll start every single game without fail, like a first name on the team sheet. I still think Olivier Giroud will get his fair share of games. And, you know, funny enough, Stoke is probably one of them where you're sort of got a bit of a dilemma onto who to really start, because both are obviously full of confidence. And you know, the type of place Stoke is, it's quite an interesting one. But yeah, generally very promising. It's good to just get that goal as well. It's good to just get it out your system, because as we've seen, you know, with players at our club and in other clubs, the longer it goes when you don't score, then you suddenly get into that sort of, you know, that sort of Diego Forlan land, I like to call it. So it's good to see him get his first goal. I think good to see that there's options. But, you know, I think there's a long way to go, and he'll have good moments, but he'll also have dips as well. But that's hopefully where Giroud and Co can kind of step in.
Dave, you wrote a blog this week about the system, the formation, and ostensibly about who do you prefer, Ox and Bellerin. Just talk us through it and give me your review of who should start and when they should start out of the two.
Well, I wrote the blog very much because I was thinking it through. And I'm not sure when I having written it and published it, but I necessarily agree with the thing I decided at the time, because people made some interesting comments. But all I was thinking was, it ended up being about Ox and Bellerin, but actually it was more about the fluid way that we changed from the sort of the 3-4-2-1 into the old 4-2-3-1. And I just thought, logically, if you're going to be having Nacho on the left of centre-back and Kolasinac playing generally, I think that's going to be the system we're going to play. Then you've effectively got Nacho playing left centre-back, Buddy's a left-back or a left wing-back, and you've got another left wing-back. If you're going to change the system, one of those two will probably come off the pitch, probably Monreal, and the person who's playing the right wing-back will just obviously go back into the natural right-back position. I just thought that favoured Bellerin in certain games. In games where Wenger felt, you know, we might be up against it and he thinks in advance, you know, at some point I might like to switch the system, it favours Bellerin because he's a far more natural right-back than obviously Oxlade-Chamberlain. That was what I was saying. I was just thinking, because it seemed to, given that we had players playing that position when we did it, it worked in our favour. We looked far more fluid in that last period when we went back to the old formation. And I just thought it was quite nice to see, because we've all moaned, or I certainly have, that Wenger doesn't change systems in the game very often. You know, when we went to 4-2-3-1, I think he played 4-4-2 about 4 times in the last 6 years. You know, he doesn't do it. And this time, you know, in the first game of the season, he's got a system. He said he's starting the season with a system, and then he's changed it with 20 minutes to go. And I thought that's very promising and very encouraging. But I just think it favours Bellerin, because I don't necessarily think Bellerin's any better than Ox as a right wing back, but he's a much better right back. So if that's a feature, and it's going to be a feature, I think it favours Bellerin over Ox, was the point I was trying to make.
And how would you go about keeping Ox happy? I mean, do you give him minutes? Do you think there are some games where his attributes do serve better for the team?
The one thing that stands out for me, and funnily enough, my 2 favourite players are Oxlade-Chamberlain and Danny Welbeck, not because they're the best players, I just love the way they play with their heart, but they're the only 2 players in that game on Friday who'd actually tried to beat a man. And for long periods in that game, we're passing, we're Arsenal, we're passing, it looks pretty, we're not going anywhere. And the one where Welbeck went through and should have scored, but it went through because he beat a man, and Oxlade-Chamberlain will beat a man. Now, it's not what you need all the time, but without Jack, without Santi, we have those 2 players and the whole of our first team squad who will try and beat a man with a trick or with pace
and
or with skill.
Yeah, and Alexis.
And Alexis, sorry. But of those who are fit. So it just just to lose another player. If Jack's for sale, Santi's not fit, but Welbeck's playing more advanced. To have only one player who's going to play either wide on midfield or central midfield who's ever going to try and beat a man, I just don't want to see that lost out of the squad, because I think it's the only one. He's the only one who's going to try and do it.
We had a private discussion, and some quite interesting points were made. And there's an argument to say that against a low block team, a deep lying team, that someone like the Ox is better at the right wing back berth because he commits his players. He's the one that sort of, as you were saying, he's direct, he's penetrative, he commits his players, especially off the right side. On the right side, doesn't have to think about how he gets his delivery or anything. It's more or less better.
I think it's unfair to criticise him based on playing on the left, to be honest. Yeah.
Whereas with a team coming on to us who are more prepared to dominate the ball, maybe someone like Bellerin is better because he can get in behind. Obviously, he's a better right back, as you were saying. And that kind of broken play where there's more space in behind and broke the open field. He's probably the better option. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's why I said when I wrote the blog, I thought I was making sense, and then when I get that sort of comment from you, I sort of sent me back and thought maybe I wasn't making sense, because I can see both sides of the argument. And it's sort of why I thought back last year, the year before, I thought we should have rotated between Monreal and Gibbs at times, because they had different attributes. It's a big squad game. The problem is with Wenger, he tends to rotate by injury rather than by game, doesn't he? So he has an 11 to play, and someone only gets a chance when someone else is injured. Whereas maybe he should be saying, picking the right wing back based on the opposition. I don't know what the others think, but maybe we should do more of that.
Over to you, Ax. What do you think?
I'll send him to sleep.
No, I was in a bit of deep thought there, and I think what you said was spot on, is what I thought as well. That when you have teams that are going to sit back, then you do want players that are going to kind of beat players and make something happen. And I kind of talked about it today a little bit. I tweeted about it, about Chamberlain, and said that forget where he plays in the team, forget if he's going to play. From a purely selfish point of view, and that's from the point of view of Arsenal Football Club, we need players that can beat players, and because there'll be times where you need that, and that's funny enough when we were linked with Mahrez, that was the one logical thing I could see, that maybe we do want a player like that who's actually going to get that ball and going to make something happen, going to beat players. It is a bit of a dribbler, because we don't really have many of them. We have Sanchez, but we all remember how much he gave the ball away last year, and with Chamberlain you just think that his end product could be a lot better. We know that, but there was bits of optimism last year, and they were in big games as well. I'm thinking Old Trafford at home to Man United, Man City in the semi-final, where he kind of he got half a yard. He left Rashford on his arse once. He just, whatever he did, whether he beats a player or whether he's like direct as well, and that's what I kind of like about him, that he can actually make something happen. There aren't many like that. Someone like Alex Iwobi can dribble, but when we don't think he's going to be a first choice this season, he's kind of going to be part of the squad. So I just think, I don't expect Chamberlain to play week in, week out, and obviously that is probably going to be upsetting for him. But end of the day, if we're going to be selfish and if we are going to keep him, then so be it. But there'll be games there where when teams come to the Emirates and play 10 behind the ball, those sort of games you would think are made for someone like Chamberlain rather than a Bellerin.
I'll tell you what, before I give it to Woz, it's funny, we've got Alexis, Iwobi, Chamberlain, and who was the other one that you said?
Jack and Santi.
Right, those five our dribblers, guys that can beat people. Only Alexis is the one that really gives you it. I forget Santi because he's been out and Jack's not been here, but of those that are available, it's only Alexis that consistently gives you end product.
I mean, Ozil can do a bit of it. But
but he's not really Welbeck doesn't give you end product.
No.
Chamberlain is hot and hit and miss. So anyway, over to you. What's your thoughts? I mean, do you agree with what the guys have said, or how do you see?
Yeah, everyone's made some great points, really. I mean, the thing for me with Ox, and the thing that it always has been with Ox, physically, he's an absolute specimen. He's a machine. He's well built. He's quick. He's strong as an ox. He's got the lot, mate. He really has got the lot. And if you was to look at him as a human and look at him as a footballer, you'd think, my God, this guy is built to be running up and down that wing, having defenders on toes, left, right, and centre. Now, he can do that, and he has shown it on occasion. The thing with me that gets Ox, and I was hoping it would be developing sooner than it has, is his footballing brain, which is something that, ironically, a lot of other players in our squad have been accused of not having a brain. But realistically, when you watch Ox and some of the decision making, and especially in the final third, I was hoping that would develop with age. Now, he's not old. Don't get me wrong, he's not old. He's 24 years old. He's not old, but he infuriates me. Now, the other night, 8 take-ons, absolutely fantastic, but he had 6 shots, only 2 of them on target. He attempted 7 crosses, only 1 of them found a man. Now, I know he's playing on the left wing, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about with the Ox. If he could make them numbers 4 out of 7 crosses, or, do you know what I mean? If he could just improve.
Had he been playing on the right, had he been playing on the right, they probably would have been 4 out of 7.
Well, that's the thing, David. When you look at his numbers throughout, they're quite sketchy, and that's the thing with me with Ox. He gets there, he can do it, but sometimes he lacks a little bit of footballing IQ, and if he could nail this end product, then we've got one hell of a fight on our hands. But I think the best point that everyone made, and it sort of made me think, against lesser sides, is a great shout to have the Ox on there. But in the big games against big opposition, Hector Bellerin's explosiveness on the counter-attack, his ability to defend, that for me is where I get the nod. And also, I do think Ox struggles defensively, and of course he will, because for me personally, he's not natural. It's not natural to him, and of course it ain't. But it probably wasn't natural to people like Victor Moses at first, and you can learn that side of the game. And also, what will help in is when, for me, we need a settled 3, a settled 2 in the middle of the park. If that spine of the keeper, the 3 centre backs, and the 2 CMs are consistent, then Ox or Bellerin, whoever it is, will benefit from having a structure. And I'm not saying you can't rotate players, of course you can, but if it just helps if you've got a right centre back that you play with all the time, and you gain an understanding, and you sort of, that grows with time. But with Ox, I look at him, I still look at him now, and loads of people, I really respect their opinions. All you guys you love Ox. A lot of people love Ox, and I'm really wanting to succeed. And by all accounts, Wenger's keeping him this season, regardless of his contract situation. And hopefully, we're going to have 50 odd games this year, so we're definitely going to need the rotation. And it's just, again, if Wenger can get it right. But if Ox can explode, and I heard what Wenger said earlier about him, that he reckons in 2 years' time, Oxlade-Chamberlain will be the English footballer that everyone is talking about. And if he genuinely believes that, he has got to do all he can to tie him down. And I'm ready to see Ox get on to the next level. Because for me, at this stage of his career, 6 years ago when he signed, and I saw him then, and saw him play against teams like AC Milan, and if you would have said to me now, he would be where he is now, playing right wing back and still not quite there, I'd have said, nah, you're having a laugh. He's going to be week in, week out on the first team sheet. So
you're right.
I just think he hasn't progressed how I wanted, but I'm not saying that it's not there, if you know what I mean.
I have to agree with you there. I agree with everybody, but I agree with you there when I think about it, how much has he progressed in this, 8 years? You know, when you get to 24, you're coming up to the peak years now. You know,
it's a number of reasons, though, G, isn't it? It's a number of reasons.
Yeah, there's injuries, and I know that. But I mean, you're coming to 24. You're about to hit the peak years now, and now is the time where we got to see that. We got to see that maturity in his play. If he's to stay here, hopefully he does. He signs the next, 2-3 year contract. We've got to now start seeing, him maturing and making the right decisions, and as Woz says, turning those 7 dribbles into 4 successful, deliveries or whatever. We've got to start seeing the maturity. You hit 24. 23 is the last age where you're about potential. Hit 24.
You say that, but that's a modern football thing. Paul Gascoigne didn't win an England cap till he was 23. I mean,
but we have to move the time. But we have to move the time.
He's got 10 years ahead. He's got 10 years ahead of him, Ox.
But how many years have we got to keep doing that? To keep waiting for him to show?
There aren't many players who are playing regularly for the Arsenal first team at 18 and 19, are there? I mean, he was blooded very early.
I hear you,
and he was blooded in short periods. Then he had injuries and other short periods. He's never had the same position week in, week out for more than 6 or 7 games.
This is what we're saying, Dave. He's got to show now that he's mature enough. He can, if he wants that midfield berth, go out and get it. do what needs to be done. You've got all the attributes on paper. Use your brain. Let's see you thinking, and doing things in a mature way that we can say you can't take him out of the team. You absolutely can't take this boy out of the team. We haven't seen
and
that
he's got
yet.
it. He's got it.
Yeah.
We know he's got it. We all know he's got it.
And I love him as well. And me and Woz have, we've butted heads on this in the past, but I've got to agree with him that, at this point now we've got to start seeing that consistency of form now.
I would like him to learn from the career Theo Walcott has had, and by that is nail down your position early, and I think that's where the biggest dilemma is coming at the moment about re-sign. I think he'll stay this season, but re-signing or moving on, because he's made it very clear he wants to play central midfield. And it seems to me that, I know Arsene Wenger in the past has said that he sees his future there, but I don't think he's said that for a while now. That was 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm just not sure if the Arsenal coaching team have kind of changed their mind on that a little bit, and that's where the kind of issue with Oxlade-Chamberlain is, because after the cup final, he kind of said he wants to be a Steven Gerrard. At the foundation ball, he was sitting on our table, and when he was asked about what's your best position or where do you want to play, it's central midfield. So it's not like he's even hiding it. He's telling everyone he wants to play central midfield. But how many games has he played central midfield for Arsenal in his career? Not many. So I just hope that he kind of just goes for one position, and to be honest, the position that maybe he's got the most chance to play at this season as well, and then just kind of, as you say, nails it down a little bit and really goes for it. 'Cause at the moment, I think he's playing wing back, but he doesn't really want to be on that side of the pitch. He wants to be centrally, and I think that could be affecting him slightly.
Do you think, for me, the worry is if he, let's say that Chelsea come in with the bid that's too good to turn down. The worry for me is Conte will turn him into a very good footballer. He's done that with Victor Moses. Victor Moses was dossing around Stoke and West Ham, couldn't get into the Liverpool team. He's come back to Chelsea, and Conte's managed to mould a very good footballer. The thing is, Ox is 10 times better than him. So with
doesn't that tell you everything?
What it tells me is what it suggests to me is, are we training him? Is he getting the right tutelage? Is he getting the right tutelage, Dave? Could Conte exactly? We don't know. So there's the thing about,
does he want it as much though? Does he want it? Is he hungry enough? Yeah. Does he really want to make that next step? But we don't know, do we?
We don't. This thing, we're all coming up with different factors.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, but I mean, I would hope that after training, he is out there practicing his end product. He's getting down the byline, getting crosses in, or he's doing extra training. The same way how everyone said Dennis Bergkamp really wants it. Lee Dixon, that famous story when Lee Dixon said when Dennis Bergkamp came, he was the best player by miles. After training, we would all think about what pub we're going to go to. He'll be outside practicing free kicks, and we suddenly thought, hang on, if he's that good and he's practicing, what are we doing? So that's how hungry Dennis Bergkamp was to stay at the top, to be the best he possibly could. And I hope players like Chamberlain, who have all that potential, who had a promising season last season, they're improving. They've got that part one. He knows how to beat players. He knows how to have a trick. He knows how to run with the ball. It's that end product, and I really hope he's hungry enough. He's working hard enough to really, improve that and make himself a player. And obviously, I hope that happens at our football club.
Indeed. I do. Indeed. I did want to talk about the transfers, but we're kind of pushed for time. I do want to ask, though, 2015, we didn't do enough in the transfer market. This summer, if Wenger sticks by his word, we're not going to sell any of the people that we fear will leave, which means 2018, we don't know if Ox is going to sign, we don't know if Alexa's going to sign, we don't know if Ozil's going to sign, we don't know if Jack's going to sign. What's going to happen in 2018, Akhil? Is it going to be, are we heading for another Titanic summer? And I don't mean it in a good way.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's funny that when they're talking about these contracts and about if they'll go for a free next year, Mesut Ozil hasn't been talked about. So you would hope that maybe that's one that will be signed. So that's one less to worry about. And then you've got, the other two. I mean, there's Jack Wilshere there as well, but I think Jack Wilshere will be, even if he has a good 6 months, I think it will be slightly easier to convince him to stay because he's at that part of his life where there are offers for him, but not by the so-called big club. So he's slightly easier. I think with Sanchez, with Chamberlain, I think with Chamberlain it does come down to how many minutes he gets this season. Potentially where those minutes are on the pitch. But with Sanchez, yeah, if you're a betting man, you'll probably say he'll be off next year. So what will 2018 look like? It's very, very difficult to say. But I just think, these players want to win. So you kind of have to focus on the short term, have to focus on winning football matches and being in a title race and looking like, actually, yeah, this football club can win things. We can win things here. That's what players like Alexis Sanchez need to be convinced of, which they're not convinced at the moment. But, if you're top of the league at Christmas, couple points clear, looking, playing good football with the tightened up at the back, scoring goals, then, it's slightly easier to convince players to stay. But we finished 5th last season. I mean, would you sign? I mean, these players aren't fans. They're not in love with the football club. They're not in love with fans. It's, they'll be, all their agents, their advisors will be telling them, don't sign yet, I can get you more, don't sign yet. And who blames them really? Obviously we do as fans, but deep down, if you weren't an Arsenal fan, what would you say? It's probably fair enough.
Over to you, Woz. What do you think? Do you think Wenger's doing right? Do you agree with Wenger? Are you backing Wenger in him saying that they're going to stay and then see what happens next summer?
See, my thought process behind this might be a bit cynical, but I genuinely do believe that Arsene Wenger is fully aware that he's taken these 2 years and it is really his last push. And if financially it is obviously better to take an offer now, but he is thinking solely about his performance of this season, which is what if he had done in the past on a fair few occasions, we might well have won the title. But he wants to keep these guys, and what we've got to appreciate is the worst thing for me is in the middle of the season they could start communicating with other clubs about their deal for the following season. So how switched on are they going to be? It's a massive job for Arsenal to convince them. And another worrying thing we talk about next season. I don't know if you're aware, next season as well. Yeah. Aaron Ramsey, Olivier Giroud, Theo Walcott, Danny Welbeck, Nacho Monreal, David Ospina, Petr Cech, they're all in the last year of their contracts.
The cycle continues.
The cycle continues.
Well,
and if
you would hope that, when that, who is it? What's the fella's name who we recruited?
Yeah, this guy, yeah.
Yeah, but when it was kind of done, what was briefed out was that 2-year cycle. So I do expect some movement early in the season on some of those players. I don't think we'll let them all go, but I mean, you'd hope so anyway.
Yeah, it's very important, mate, because we're all aware of the ones this season, but my God, if they choose not to sign and we lose them all for nothing, and we're in a situation where these players, these sort of 7 or 8 players have seen our 2 best players disappear, and mate, it could turn very nasty. But let's hope that, as we say, we get into Christmas, we're top of the league, everything's going lovely, and we can convince these guys to stay on at our football club. Because realistically, for Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez, it is their last big contract. It is the main contract of their career. The prices, the escalation in wages, this is it for them now. They know it's their last payday. So we've got to match their ambition. We've got to show it, and hopefully we do, and we can retain their services, and we can keep the others and add to this squad rather than going back to square one where we were 4 years ago before signing Mesut. And I just can't. I really hope it don't happen, and I hope for Arsene Wenger's sake and for our football club's sake that we do perform this season and they do commit to the club. It would be great, but it's a big risk, and one that I feel Arsene is in a position that he has to take now because of this 2-year contract.
Okay, we've got one question. We don't usually take questions, but we've got one question. It's from our mate FK, and he asks, who would you like Arsenal to sign in this transfer window? So start with you, Dave. Who would you like?
Do I have one player?
Yeah. Jack
Butland.
Axe.
I don't know. It would probably be with Gabriel going. It looks like he's gone to Valencia tonight, tomorrow. They look like they're preparing their video. Probably a centre back. I would love a Van Dijk type player, just because I'm thinking about the future as well. with Mertesacker gone in a year, Koscielny's struggling. So
Succession planning, yeah.
But someone who can play now as well.
Yeah. You was
one player.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Well, if Gabriel goes, we need a centre back. I think the biggest fright for me of this entire season is and touch every bit of wood going, that Granit Xhaka stays fit, because if we lose him, I'm worried. So, yeah, to put a name on it, I could name a backup for Xhaka, but someone like Krakowiak or someone who would come in and do a squad role. But I think we need probably 3 more, but I couldn't name one player. But if Gabriel's going, I do think big on a centre back, like Ak said, maybe someone like, if Van Dijk becomes available, we just go out and Wenger busts his balls to keep these other players at the club and really push for the title. So I didn't really answer that at all.
No, you didn't. I'm going to go with a midfielder. I would love Keita. One, just because he's a brilliant midfielder, and 2, to rub it in Klopp's face. And we've got I think there's a real drop off from Xhaka and Ramsey to, the guys behind them, the ones that are fit anyway. I think we've got enough in defence to cover Gabriel leaving. I think centre midfield is the real concern for me. The drop off is massive.
Did you see Nice? Did you see Nice lost?
I haven't watched it.
2-0.
I watched Game of Thrones.
So, Seri, if they don't get in the Champions League.
Yeah, so he's available. Yeah, exactly. So, and I like Seri as well. He's number 2 after
I've been
Keita.
told we've got 2 big bids on the table for 2 players at the moment, and one of them isn't Seri.
Right. So we're talking about Lamar and...
I've no idea.
Okay.
Honestly. Okay. No idea.
ITK Dave in the know. Okay, all right.
He's just getting me excited.
I did call Gabriel 3 weeks ago.
Yep. All right. So we're looking at Stoke away. Dave, just to set it up quickly, they've been playing 3 at the back as well. It's the in vogue formation.
Have they? Right,
Yep, okay. They've been playing 3 at the back. They've had Youth on one side, on the right wing. I think they've got Peters on the left side. They've brought in Choupo-Moting. They're using Berahino. They've got Crouch. They've obviously brought
signed
in Jesse. They've got Jesse now. Jesse James. So, how do we go about this Saturday? Dave, what's your 11? How do we go about it?
My 11 is, I think Lacazette and Ozil will play behind Giroud. I think Ramsey and Xhaka will play in the middle. I think it'll be Bellerin and Kolasinac. I think it'll be Nacho, Holding and Mustafi, with Mustafi in the middle. That's my 11.
He's on mute. He's gone to sleep. Akhil.
Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, boys. Go on, Akhil, you go first. Yourself again.
Yeah, I'll put Mertesacker back in alongside Monreal, and if Mustafi is fit, play Mustafi, give Holding a breather, just build up his confidence again. Probably Bellerin on the right, and then I'll probably start with Giroud there, and I'm not sure about Lacazette or Welbeck really. I'll just look at sort of what their conditions like, and one of them obviously, but yeah, I'm not sure about which one actually.
Okay, for me, I'd go pretty much what Dave said. Yeah, pretty much. I'd start Giroud up top. I'd have Lacazette running in behind him, ahead of him, and Ozil like we did last season when we won 4-1. But I'd probably go with Bellerin. But then there's an argument to say that Ox, if you're playing Giroud, then you want Ox because the delivery from the right is what Giroud would want. Ramsey and Xhaka in the centre. I'd go Mertesacker in the middle with Mustafi on the right if fit, and Nacho on the left, and obviously Kolasinac on the left wing back side as well. But it's going to be, from what I've read from I was snooping around some Stoke forums, they are very shot shy. They're not confident at all.
That will all change on Saturday.
Well, I think really the first goal really will have a significant effect on the game.
If the fans aren't behind them, that's
they're not. Yeah, and they don't like
Stoke, and it was like going to Turkey, wasn't it? But now the fans are turning on Mark Hughes' big style. Yeah.
Big style.
Turkey. I like the analogy, Dave. But one of them's like 35-degree heat, and the other's like going back to the Stone Ages.
I meant the vociferousness of the fans.
And but we've got to also keep in mind they've got 5 Champions League weekends now. They've got more Champions League winners than anybody else in the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
They've only played
None of
30
them
minutes.
actually played in the final.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so I'm not
All
sure.
the semis, all the quarters.
Yeah. So I don't know how it's going to turn, but I've got a feeling the first goal, as they say, first goal wins it. You know, that will give the team, whoever scores first, a real momentum.
We'll win it by more than 3.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And Axe, your prediction?
Let's go 3-1 to Arsenal, obviously.
Was
2-0. Going 2-0. I'm going Mustafi header from a corner and Aaron Ramsey.
cool. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. Right, Dave?
Yep.
What's your prediction?
I already said we'll win by more than 3. You want an exact score? Like
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to do my numbers.
4-1.
Cool, yeah, good stuff. All right, so that's been a Gooner Ramble podcast.
Even though that's not more than 3 goals.
I switched off.
To be fair, Dave, I switched off when you told us how you got to the game on Friday.
All right, that's been a Gooner Ramble podcast. I want to thank my
I'm being bullied.
Yeah, for chance to be a fine thing. I'd like to thank Dave for coming on.
Well, Dave's lucky his wife didn't kill him, because that's how he started.
Exactly, yeah. Dave, thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries. Thanks.
Always a pleasure. Akhil, always a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine, son. Pleasure's all mine.
It is. And also...
It's a bit of a come down from the BBC, but never mind.
Never mind, you know.
Well, yeah.
At least you don't have to see that dodgy jumper he was wearing, eh? You know?
Whoa. There was nothing wrong with that.
Is there a jumper that actually had a shirt and tie sort of attached, stitched into it?
No, I'm not.
I think it was.
I'm not 16 anymore. I assure you it wasn't.
That was hideous. Hideous. And obviously
It was not hideous.
And was
There's
your...
There's a very nice Matalan near where Akhil lives.
Oh, dear. I think you're off to Stoke as well, aren't you?
I'm off to the joys of Stoke, mate. Yeah, I can't wait. And to be fair, I'm looking forward to your next edition of your next rap, mate. To be honest with you, because earlier you was them lyrics. I can't wait to listen to them back, mate. It's fantastic.
Which lyrics was that?
Well, your little Friday night.
Oh yeah, Friday night. Yeah.
Maybe you need to be doing something with DT.
Steady. You know what? I'll do an ode to a Game of Thrones for the next one. So watch out for that. Coolio. All right.
Good stuff.
Good Ramble podcast. Catch us on all platforms: YouTube, iTunes, all the podcast Android platforms. I've been your host, Giles. It's been a Good Ramble. Up your Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.
Football has its ups and downs. You can't win every match, but you can win every bet. Start your free trial and earn £30 risk-free today at oddswatchdog.co.uk.